Hi there, welcome to Office Talk 6. I'm Jeremy Brown, your host, and today we're here with Team Sandbox MMA in Dale, Indiana. We just got done training, so everybody's a little bit sweaty and all loosened up. And these guys are showing a ton of hospitality to Office Talk. They fixed us up some food and did a little seminar for us. And we're just feeling a lot of love over here. So we're going to go around the table here and introduce ourselves. We'll start with you. What's your name?
Donnie Wood.
Donnie Wood?
Witt.
Donnie Witt. And what's your record, man, as a fighter? 1-0. And how about you?
My name is Michael Stewart. 2-1 in kickboxing.
Awesome. How about you? Are you a fighter?
I train them and do the strength and conditioning for Team Warrior at the LCC Tempo they train at.
Okay. And then we got Joseph Hammond, trains with me, Next Level MMA. And then we got another Sandbox MMA fighter.
Yep. My name's Derek Hagedorn. I've trained with the Sandbox. My MMA record right now stands at 2-1. But I've been living in Salt Lake City.
You got to throw out props to Jeremy Horn too.
Yeah.
He's your coach too.
Jeremy. Yeah. Well, I've had 3 coaches: Dan and Jeremy Horn and Nick Albin from Louisville. He's got a black belt in jiu-jitsu over there in Louisville. He's got a great school, Derby City MMA. And then Jeremy Horn's Elite Performance and Dan Christensen's a Sandbox is where I've done my training. So.
Okay. And who we got here?
Yeah, I'm Richard Harris. I've been training with Dan for 7 years now. Something like ever since you've been here, about 7 years. 2-0, amateur-wise. Enjoy it, love it. Getting all too old for it, but I like it.
Did you fight for Kyra?
Yes. Yeah,
Okay.
fought for the IFC. It's the only place I probably will fight for, so yeah.
Next.
Ryan Fisher. And record's 3-0 in kickboxing. I'm training for 8 months.
Well, 8 months. Come on.
Right.
5 months, maybe 6 months. I'm Dan Christensen. I'm the instructor here at Sandbox MMA. It's kind of my show kind of thing, my school. I try to set up the school to basically speak for itself. So the guys come in, they train hard, learn some good technique, and then they kind of do their thing. So.
And do we have another coach next to you there?
Yes. Yes, I'm Garrett McConnell. I'm the coach and Kempo trainer for Team Warrior, MMA, and LCC Kempo.
So what role do both of you play? I mean, there's 2 instructors here. Does each one of you play a different role on the team?
Well, we were down here invited. We're from Lagodi, and we do the Kempo in Lagodi. We don't actually come down here. We're wanting to come down here and train and start, sharing ideas and get a little bit more work and stuff like that together.
It's new energy.
Yeah.
That's what coaches always talk about. That's what we like about all different schools coming. Just like with you guys.
Mm-hmm.
It's different energy. You experienced that today a little bit.
Yeah.
Same way with you. You seem a little bit different style, and that's what you start putting all that together, kind of get your game together better.
And Dan Christensen, you're the head coach and the owner of Sandbox MMA, and you also have a background in the UFC. Are you a UFC veteran?
The Ultimate Fighter.
Yeah, I've done the Ultimate Fighter. I've fought in the UFC. I guess you could call me a veteran, but I tend to think. I like to say if you've been there for more than 10 fights, you're a veteran. If you're not, you're not. So I don't consider myself a veteran, a true veteran. Some of the guys that have fought in there for, years. And yeah, I did it. I went to there. I did it. I did it the best of my ability. And one of the personal claim to fame is I made it to the top echelon of fighting. I did it drug free, 100%. And I just did the best I could, and I went from there and did some other things then.
He's a collegiate swimmer too.
I tried. I wasn't very good, but I pretty much lost everything.
So, how'd you get to the UFC? What were you doing?
I was trained out of Greg Jackson's in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and fight for those guys, and doing pretty well. I've trained with several places for jiu-jitsu, and started developing my MMA game through there, through Greg's, and then Greg's was where I went to the UFC. Some of my teammates, Diego Keith Jardine, Diego Sanchez, later on Rashad Evans, stuff like that. But there was a bunch of guys there that just no-name guys that would just beat you to a pulp and make you better. And before that, I was fighting all over the place. And I think Coach Jackson had a wall full of belts. It was like, God, every time you won a belt, you put one on the wall. I think I had 5 or 6 belts that were on that wall. And they were from various organizations that you win the title in that, you hold the title, you get the belt, throw it up on the wall. And I would have them today, but somebody came in and stole all the belts. They stole every single one of them.
Really?
Steal from the MMA.
I don't know if they knew where they were stealing from.
I guess not.
Well, no, it wasn't just my belts. They were everybody's belts. There was
Wow, they'll do a gym and clean it out.
There was like 30 belts on that wall.
Man, they should all steal from some MMA fighters. They got that.
Yeah.
So you fought in the IFL too, didn't you?
IFL, IFC, IVC, IFC. I mean, I fought in all kinds of different organizations that all over the United States, Canada, Mexico.
You fought over in Pride against Ben?
No, I didn't fight in Pride. I fought
trained in
Japan.
Japan.
I was in New Jersey. I trained in Japan for a while, but
Okay.
I've been all over the place.
So, how many fights did you have after the UFC?
Oh boy,
A bunch?
I couldn't tell you off the top of my head.
Really? Are you still an active fighter?
I've been kind of tooling with the idea, playing around with it, but it's kind of people that want to fight me are once again they either want a ridiculous amount of money or they don't expect longevity in their career, and it's not a threat. It's just I'm unpredictable. I'm good on the ground. I'm good standing up. I'm a decent wrestler, and it kind of makes it's real difficult to prepare for an opponent like me. I have fairly significant size. I'm not like a massively muscled person, but I'm pretty strong.
No, you're leverage. You're so good at leverage.
Yeah,
Well, that makes a big difference.
And it's like I said, I'm not saying any of this stuff to be cocky. I'm not trying to be a jerk or anything. It's just there are some of the guys that have fought me are just phenomenal. They've built their careers and they were doing great, and then they fought and lost to me, and they don't necessarily get to get the invites to the big shows anymore. So it's kind of a weird position to be in.
Okay.
It's almost like being a gatekeeper. I mean, if they beat you, they can write their ticket, but if they don't beat you, they kind of lose their career.
Well, you fought Ben Rothwell. Can you tell us a little bit about that fight?
Ben is probably one of the toughest guys I've ever fought.
Yeah,
We basically beat on each other for 3 rounds, and I got a lucky head kick and put him on the ground and submitted him. It's basically what it boils down to. I mean, I'd say we were pretty evenly matched, but I talked to Pat Miletich later on, not that night, but like maybe I'd say maybe a year or 2 later, and he basically summed it up in probably the best way that I could possibly ever hear it or put it, in that he said, "You just wanted it more." And that's I can't tell you exactly how to win something like that. I can't tell you. I can honestly say that it could have gone either way. Because Ben, he's tough. He can take punishment just as much as I can. He hits hard. I'd say, to this day, it's, if he had beat me, that I wouldn't look at that as a bad thing, because hey, he's a tough guy and can't take anything away from that. Tough and skilled. Just that simple.
Well, with you winning belts at various promotions and having several fights, fighting someone like Ben Rothwell and listening to your story, would you say that is one of your most memorable fights? And if not, which one is?
Oh, for sure. I'd say that's definitely one of my most memorable fights. There's several. I mean, I've had a very long career.
You had up in the CML.
But the as far as it's kind of weird. Over the course of my career, it boils down to moments. You may not remember a whole fight, or you may not remember the person, or you may not remember the specific instance, but you remember a moment. And that moment, just remembering that moment, brings back a flood of memories. You're literally back in that fight. For that fraction of a second that you recall that memory, you're back in that fight. You're back in that feeling. You remember everything about that moment, and it's just I have a file, a bunch of those memories, little instances, little seconds from this fight, or from this fight, from this fight. And so being able to say, this one is a memorable fight, yeah, well, they all are. But there's 1 second here that was just, maybe this was that one point where I was ready to quit, and I said no, just fight one more second. Or maybe it's right here where I was almost submitted, but I made the decision to not be submitted and changed it. Or maybe it was here where I was like, okay, he's not going to get the takedown, and he throws me. It can be anything. I have a memorable moment from a gentleman in Canada that threw me harder than I think I've ever been thrown in my life. and it's a memory. It's just that one thing, but for that fraction of a second, when you recall it, you're right there. You're back in that, and you're going, okay, do everything to fit you. Oh, it's not going to change. And the outcome is still the same, because that's what happened.
If you were to tell somebody your strong point for the Sandbox MMA here, what would you say your strongest suit is as far as your skill set that you train?
Or mindset.
That's what I was going to say.
Mindset?
I think that's it.
Or
If
mindset.
I was to say, compared, for all the other schools we've trained in, that's not taking nothing away.
Mm-hmm.
I think Dan does a good job of instilling that, there are no such thing as a bad position. Just something you got to work harder at. Just things like that, that he instills in us.
We try to take anything that can be perceived as defensive mindset. Squaring up against your opponent. What's the first thing you think of? What's he going to do? That is a defensive mindset. You're not thinking offensively. It's defensive right out the gate. You change that. So when you square up an opponent, it's like, what's he leaving open? Now you're thinking offensive. You're not thinking, what's he going to do? What do I have to defend? What do I have to get out of the way of? Once again, it's backpedaling. You're already mentally on the defensive. It only takes a little bit more of a push to put you on a physical defensive. But if you stay on mentally offensive, they have to shift your mentality. They have to stop you. Think about your mindset as being a train going in one direction. They have to stop that train. Stop it. Then force it backwards. And granted, it can be easy enough to do. It can be a hard right hand. Whoa! Now all of a sudden your train's going backwards pretty fast.
Yeah.
But if your train's already moving backwards, it's like a predator about ready to attack a piece of meat or a prey. That prey is already getting ready to run. Whereas if he wasn't going to run, that might have been a predator getting ready to attack another predator. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So the mentality shift is very evident. It's something I make sure to drill into our guys all the time. Because we use the analogy of sharks. Sharks never stop moving, ever. They're constantly moving. If they stop moving, they die. They're on the ground, on your back, you stop moving, you're dead.
That goes back to the mashing thing.
Yeah, I experienced something today that I thought was pretty cool, and he called it the Sandbox Smash. Am I correct?
Yeah.
And he was very good at it. And yeah, I mean, is that what you instill in these guys too? Is that one of your guys' strong suits?
Oh,
that
yeah.
you get somebody on their back and you smash them?
Well, it goes back, maybe not even getting them. A lot of them like to be there. And instead of it being a go-to, my safe position, we make it extremely uncomfortable to be there. And then that sets us up for our game, sets us up for the openings that we need to, play offense.
We always look at, I try to instill in the plain and simple fact that jiu-jitsu is like a tennis ball. If you take a tennis ball, you cut it in half. You have bottom game, you have the top game. Wrestlers are phenomenal at the top game. Jiu-jitsu players are phenomenal at the bottom game. What happens if you take those two components and put them together? Now you have an actual component, a full unit. You have submission wrestling. It's everywhere. You're good on your back, you're good on the top, you're good on the side, you're good everywhere. There's no bad positions.
Yeah.
There's just positions you have to work harder out of or work more explosively to get out of, but it can still be utilized. You can take the weakest possible position and you can turn it into an attack. It may not seem like it, but side control sweeps from bottom. Side control submissions from bottom. Mount submissions from bottom. And I'm not talking reaching up and, I'm going to pull his head down and no. I'm talking actual movements that create these opportunities. So utilizing both components together makes a complete and effective game. And that's just using the example of jiu-jitsu and wrestling, or wrestling and jiu-jitsu. Realistically, it's more of a tennis ball cut into 3 parts: jiu-jitsu, jiu-jitsu, wrestling, and Muay Thai boxing. Because even then, those are 2 separate components that are very similar as well. Put all those components together, now you have a complete MMA game.
Great analogy.
Yeah.
What do you guys think is the best thing about being a part of this team?
Well, just as a young kid, I always grew up watching the IFC on TV and stuff, and I always wanted to be a part of the team, and I finally got the chance to. And in order to get big, you got to start small, and just going in every week training with the team, and it helps you really stress. It just helps you in all aspects of life. It teaches you self-discipline, respect for the game, respect for your fighters in the cage.
What would you say is your favorite part about being on this team?
Meeting new people, getting out there, just having fun.
Great. Would you guys say it's like a family atmosphere? Because that's kind of the way I feel. My first day, I kind of feel like you guys are like a family.
Well, it's what Dan always says, we're brothers, and that's why sometimes we put each other through crap and everything else, because like he's always said, I mash you hard, or I punch you hard, or, that's a simple analogy, but so nobody else can. Nobody else can put you in that position. It's kind of a way of, helping that person out so they're not in that by somebody else. You know what I mean? A brotherhood.
If it's my responsibility, if you're my brother, if I don't beat on you hard enough, somebody else can. If I beat on you and push you to the absolute limit that you could possibly have, and past that,
I've been there.
nobody can ever push you to that point. And if they do, hey, you've already been there.
Yeah.
You know what the scenery's like. You're like, hey, that's the best you got.
Yeah.
I got more in the tank, buddy. You're going for it.
Well, a good example, too, because of that, a lot of the grappling tournaments, too, just an example for me, they always stuck me with heavyweights. The first guy I went against was 330 pounds. Yeah, exactly.
He had a beautiful mustache.
Yeah, the beautiful mustache guy. I ended up wrestling, 4 or 5 times that day, and I gave up a minimum of 40 pounds. Minimum. And I won, I won me a nice medal that day. Because, like I said, I've been put in that position by other people and big people that, like you said, it was just, this is it,
Yeah.
And I'm not saying I was better than them, but
Yeah.
but that drowning feeling, or that, not knowing what to do, it wasn't there,
Yeah.
Like you said, we've been put there before. So, and when you got a 6'8", 300-pound coach on you,
300 pounds? I'm a little sensitive.
that was at the time.
Man, that just stings.
Well, you're not now. You're a little daintier now. So.
I'm sensitive about my weight. Let's just get that out in the open. I'm just a little sensitive about it.
He felt like he was 600 pounds.
It's okay, Coach. He said I was heavy too. So, but yeah.
Well, we're going to take a short commercial break, and when we come back, we'll finish talking with Sandbox MMA in Dale, Indiana. Alright, welcome back to Office Talk. Ryan, what do you think about training with Dan Christensen? He's like 6'8", right? Are you 6'8"? What's it like going with a 6'8" guy?
Different.
To be honest, now he's right there.
It gives me a better, opportunity to get better because when I'm be fighting anybody else, I mean, they're not gonna be that size. So, kind of what we were saying earlier, you could be scared of nobody.
Right.
Well, it's a reach thing, and you know.
He's like a big
Yeah, but we're just
mattress.
talking about the physical
He's a
part,
big
not
mattress.
the technical side of it. That's a fat joke.
That is a fact.
You're getting it.
Hey, you told me
You're
that,
getting
man.
it. You're getting
You
it.
remember?
You know, fuck all you scared of Spider-Man, you know?
But
you make me feel like
for
walking off South Park.
6'8" tall dude, he don't. You know, you come in with the first things. He can't
And
move
then
well,
he's more
and he does.
flexible, you know,
He moves better than a lot of people at 5'6".
I thought so, and I
Yeah.
thought his ground game was very
He
tight.
plays with you like you're a dang ball of yarn, and it just makes you so mad.
He definitely uses his size very well. Yeah. We got another coach over here, Garrett McConnell.
McConnell.
I'm sorry.
That's fine.
Can you tell us a little bit about your background?
My background, I've got a couple different black belts, but I spent a lot of time doing some Taekwondo, the Army Combatives program, and most of my focus is on Kempo, and the Kempo I've learned from my uncle in Montana.
He's an extraordinary coach.
Thank you.
He's a good coach.
And right now, where I'm at, I'm with, like I said before, I'm at Lagodi, about an hour north of here. And I train out of a basement of a church there in town. And basically, we just run a ministry and outreach. Basically, anywhere we teach kids. I think the youngest one we have is actually 4. I say 5, but I'll let the kids come in. So I trained them kids, and then I got the bring in Team Warrior and train with him, Jason Bayless, and Nathan over there. He's our fitness and wellness coach, and he runs these guys harder than I do, and I'm kind of the not good cop of the group, and everybody else is just hammering them away. So
Yeah.
So you like the technique coach?
yes, I spend a lot of time doing technique. The style that we do, we call Kempo Combatives. It's basically applying Kempo principles to modern combatives theory. And this kind of a way to make the martial arts move forward is kind of our goal. And Dan here has given us opportunities and stuff like that to express ourselves in the cage and express the art. And we definitely appreciate the opportunities he gives us to do that. So, yeah.
And you're the strength coach.
I've been in and out of martial arts, anywhere from Taekwondo, from being these youngins over here at age, hopped in and out different gyms. I've been to the MMA gyms up in New Orleans under Team Atchison back when the elbows were all legal and in the AMI level. Done a whole lot of weight training my whole life, worked in physical therapy, been a personal trainer. I had a 2-year layoff, kind of got away from things. But this year, another friend of mine in martial arts, our original coach in Taekwondo, and it just kind of got back into it. He's a very good analytical coach, and it's very nice to be able to cross-train with Dan. So,
Yeah. So you train under him?
Yes, sir.
Good. Then we got Ryan Fisher, or
That's right.
Richard. Are you Richard?
No, I'm Richard.
I'm Derek.
Derek. All right, sorry. Derek, you just fought, right?
Yeah, I had a fight 3 weeks ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how'd you do?
No, I took it at a 2-day notice. Me and Dan were talking about it. Yeah, first round, I came out, landed a big left hook, got tied up, got in the guillotine, switched positions a couple times. I gave up a takedown, stuffed his arm, threw the triangle up, needed to really clamp onto get his shoulder in, and then his other arm, and I really needed to pull that in to finish the triangle. He popped that shoulder out. It's kind of how the first round ended. Second round come out, I landed a big right hand, hit a double leg takedown, took him down. Man, I don't remember like half of the second round and like much of the third. I got a concussion again. But no, he was a good fighter, man. You know, I give him all the credit in the world. My conditioning was a little bit off in the last fight. You know, it wasn't like my first couple fights. You know, my first couple fights I was pretty ready to go. But I took that one on a 2-day notice. The conditioning in the third round was kind of what gave the judges, you know, to him. He was in good shape, and his conditioning is what gave him the edge.
Okay. Dan, how'd you come up with the name Sandbox MMA? Is there a story behind this?
That's the if you were to get in ask a toddler, you know, you take them up to the park, they'll play on the slide, they'll play everywhere, but they go and they have the absolute most blast in the sandbox. They go, they eat the sand, they swim in it, they play in it, they throw it in, and pretty soon when you're taking them home, you're pulling sand out of places you didn't know they had. And it's fun. If you watch a bunch of kids playing around in the sandbox, it's fun. And as a spectator, if you come in and you watch the class and you watch what we're doing, it's almost like watching a program that you're really into. You're kind of like, oh, let's get this. Oh, just right there. Oh. You start getting into it. You start moving. I've seen people do it sitting in the chairs. They get so into it. Like, oh, just grab the leg. Just pull the leg. Come on, just pull it. and you know, I've caught parents, you know, watching their kids playing, you know, and their kids are playing in the park in the sandbox. They're playing out there in a real sandbox, and they're enjoying it. And the kids are like, oh, honey, just okay, yeah, just don't do. Oh, sorry, you know. Some kid hit another kid in the face with a shovel or something, you know. And you know, like, oh, don't do that. Okay, sorry. It's one of those things where, as a spectator, they want to get involved, but they can't get involved because the child is learning. They're learning. They're playing, but they're learning. They're learning in that social atmosphere. They're playing with other kids. They're learning how to be around other kids. They're learning how to express themselves in social atmosphere, either violently or non-violently or whatever. They're learning, but they're playing. I took that analogy for our school, for this school, because I want people to come in with the mentality of playing. If you want to come in and you want to be a hardcore jerk, you don't need to be here.
You won't make it.
And you won't make it here. I mean, I've taught everybody here, if you're a hardcore jerk and you come in, everybody here will eat you for breakfast.
Check your ego at the door.
Everybody will. There is
If not, it'll
absolutely.
hit you.
I mean, what's the first thing I said when we were going to roll? If I start screaming like a little girl, whatever you're doing, stop. It's true. And that's the way I look at it. I want to play. We want to play. We want to enjoy ourselves. We all have jobs. We all go to work on Monday. We all have families we have to support. So, you know, if somebody comes in with the attitude that, hey, I'm going to grab your hold of your foot and I'm going to rip that sucker off and not let it go until it's going home with me, you might get it once. You're not going to get it again. And you're probably going to leave with something of yours hurting. It's just that simple. And it's not being mean. It's just, look, when you come in here, there's a certain mentality that I want. And there is no correction in that. I want this mentality. And if this mentality is not maintained, that person, whatever that cancerous cell is, because you've seen it. You've seen one person come into a gym and start turning people, spoiling the other people, spoiling people that are on the fence and turning them into like just jerks. You get rid of that cancerous person. Get him out of there. This goes back to normal. It's that same mentality. I want that specific mentality in here. And if we don't have it, then I got to get rid of whoever's stopping that. Because that mentality is a safe environment to learn. I also call this place the dog park because if you think about it in terms of another analogy, inside each of us, every single male and even females on the planet, there is this deep, dark thing. Call it a dog. I call it a big dog, a big, mean dog, a wolf. Huge, mean, angry, that wants to, and you're up against a bad situation, somebody's being a jerk, first thing you want, yeah. Socially, you have to pull yourself in. You can't do that. There are rules in society. You cannot go and hurt that person. You cannot go and do something that maybe inside here you want to. You can't. So, in what aspect does a male have to let that out? There's nothing. You come into the sandbox, come into our dojo. You can let that, I call it the dog park because you can let the dog out. If you want to come in and be mean, you're going to get as good as you give. So if you come in and go, pow, you're probably going to get hit hard. So you can come in there, let the dog run. And when that dog runs around, it gets tired. First thing it does when it's done running, goes over the corner of the cage and sleeps. You may not see it again for 6 months. But it gets that energy out, that, I don't know what else to call it, but it's that energy. Everybody develops, everybody gets that antsy, kind of irritable energy that we have to get out of us. And if we don't do anything with it, we start arguments, we start getting on people's nerves, we start picking at people. It happens. Every one of us does it. So we come in here, we get that energy out, and now you're a great person. You're great to be around, fun to be around, enjoyable to be around, and not everybody's, on eggshells trying to be around you. It's just that way. I want that mentality. I want that ability. I want to have a safe place to do that. And if you don't have that, if we don't have that here, I have to find a way to change that. That's my goal. So I call this the sandbox to reiterate the fact that we come into play, to enjoy ourselves, to have a good time, to get that energy out, to just get that out. There's been times I've come in a bad mood. And these guys, I'll just have these guys just rotate in on me. And then while they're resting, I'm doing burpees, or I'm just doing something to just physically exhaust myself. And by the time I leave, I'm a completely different person. I've got that energy out.
Great.
Of course, we're all laying on there.
Whatever.
Do you guys have a certain criteria for somebody who wants to fight in the cage? Is there a criteria that they need to know before getting into the cage?
Yes.
What is that?
They have to know how to strike, they have to know how to wrestle, they have to know how to play jiu-jitsu.
Hands up.
I have seen people, there have been guys that have come into my gym and, our gym, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry guys. Those guys come into our gym and the first thing they do is, I want to fight. I'm here to fight. Okay, let's give you that pop quiz. Let's see if you're good enough. Throw on the gloves. And okay, if you're gonna fight, let's see what you got. Because I don't want to put somebody from our school into a cage match, into even a kickboxing match that is basically just going to pull fetal position and scream.
Yeah.
Street fighters.
No, he's laughing about that because I've had one guy that did that.
Not me.
No, I won't say his name, but I've
That
had
was
one
back
guy.
in the day too.
Yeah.
But they have to have, even if they don't have the physical skill, they have to have the mental capacity to do it. And as funny as it sounds, there's a series of drills that I'll do with the guys that is centered around being able to change the mentality from being scared to attack. And it's a switch. Once you click that switch, that's the easy part. Turning it off, that's the hard part. And that's something by this type of a discussion, that's how you turn it off. Doing things like this. This is like a decompression. Military calls it debriefing. Same type of thing. You sit in a room and you crack on each other, you relive the experiences, you go over all those individual components that maybe you were worried, maybe you were scared, maybe you, whatever. You relive that. And you relive that among your brothers. So you can walk away from it. You can literally experience it, be in it, re-experience it with your brothers in a safe environment, put it down, walk away from it. It's not sitting in your head and sticking there.
Great. Garrett, can you tell me what your strategy is when you corner a guy for a fight? You was talking to me about that, and I'd like you to reiterate that.
Okay. Oh, about red blue. Okay. Basically, when we go in there, we have like all of our coaches have a different job and different focus. When we go there, my job personally is to focus on what the opponent's doing. The guy sitting next to me is the one that's focused on what our guys are doing. Me being military and what I do in the military, my job is to focus on what is happening, Red Force or the enemy, and in MMA it's the opponent, not the enemy. But no, my job, I watch what the guys are doing that we're fighting against, how are they moving, where are they getting their power, what are their moves that they're liking to do, what happens after they punch, how do they reset, where are they going when they're getting there. And the other coach sitting next to me usually is the Blue Force guy, and he watches what the fighters are doing, watching where they're ending up and how they're doing it. And then during the breaks or the between the matches, we have a little 3-man powwow, and I say, all right, I'm seeing him doing this. The coach next to me says, well, I see him doing this, and then the fighter says, this is what it feels like. And so there's 3 different perspectives on what's going on in the fight. So we're able to sit there, since I'm not the opponent, I have to put my mind where what he's doing. And so basically I spend a lot of time reading them and seeing what kind of movements they're making. I tell them, all right, this is what I think should be done. The coach is like, okay, I think this is what this should be done. And then we present to the fighter, and we make all those split decisions in seconds, or trying the best thing we can do. And the goal is just to get to that first. If we can get past that first bell and get to the next round, we do feel pretty confident about it, because we have this mindset, and that's kind of our goal.
Good. Would you guys say that this is a gym that anyone can come to? Do you guys invite anybody and everybody to this gym?
Are you talking about Sandbox?
Yeah, Sandbox.
Oh yeah, we've had women, and we've had people from anybody.
Yeah.
We're all about that.
In shape, out of shape, it
And,
doesn't matter.
yeah, big, small, it don't matter. Everybody's got something different to bring to the table.
Yeah.
All ages.
Yeah.
The only thing I specifically stress is we have kids coming here sometimes. The only thing that I specifically state is they have to have the mentality to understand exactly what's happening. If an example would be, if you hold a rear naked choke 2 minutes, you're going to prison. You effectively murdered that person. So a child has to understand that, and a 4-year-old doesn't. 6-year-old doesn't.
Yeah.
They don't know that. So yeah, exactly. And that's a corner I'm not willing to turn. I don't mind teaching them wrestling techniques, specific takedowns, position techniques, things like that. In fact, I used to run kids classes, and that's what I would teach. But parents would say, "Well, teach my son boxing. Well, teach my son MMA. Well, teach my son." No. There has to be a breaking point, and I don't want to hear about somebody's child being strangled to death by another child. I don't want that, and I will be damned if I'm ever caught doing something like that. I will not let that happen.
Wow.
But otherwise, yeah, anybody.
Otherwise,
Yeah, we welcome
sorry, I
you.
got go a little hardcore there. Sorry.
Yeah.
Donnie and Michael, have you fought for Indiana Fighting Championship?
Back a couple years ago, I fought for another team, and I fought for Connor a few times. I grappled for, I kickboxed, I think one time for, and then I had some family issues come up and kind of let it go for a little bit, and just here recently got back into it, and I fought one fight since I've been back in it for Kyra.
What's it like fighting for Indiana Fighting Championship?
I mean, like I said earlier, you gotta start small to get big, and it's just an opportunity to get your name out there and show everybody what you got and what you can do.
Donnie. Would you say that Indiana Fighting Championship is a good place for any fighter to fight?
Yes. All nice people, fun, good time.
Is Kyra personal with you?
She's nice.
Does she treat you well
Yeah,
as a
we're
fighter?
fine,
Does she meet all the needs for you as a fighter?
Yeah.
She goes
I'm not
up and
gonna say
beyond
no.
when it comes to
Yeah.
I mean,
fighters.
the husband's sitting here, so I mean,
That's wrong.
Turn down the dirt bag. Turn down the dirt bag. That's all I'm saying. Turn the dirt bag down.
Has anyone else fought for Indiana Fighting Championship?
I have twice.
Yes.
I've grappled a couple of.
There's
Several
more,
times,
yeah,
too.
there's more fighters from the Sandbox that fought for IFC too, but
Mhm.
they ain't here today.
Yeah.
Is it, would you say it's an organized promotion?
Definitely, it's like Kyra. She goes up and beyond when it comes to dealing with the fighters. She gives them everything, what they need to get there on, get the right place, the right time, the right uniform. She does everything she can to make sure that happens, and that's what I find really amazing about the league here and what they do.
It's amateur fights are kind of a hard, because I help too. When I'm not fighting or anything else too, and the amateurs, and some don't show up, they get the mouthpiece or
Some of them are prima donnas.
yeah.
Some of them are prima donnas. They come in,
Exactly.
you're not running your
Well,
mouthpiece in the cup.
we didn't have pink M&Ms. I don't know if I want to fight. And, so there's a lot of coddling and this and that. But that's we try to, like I said, Kyra, and we all try to work together to get the show going and put on a show for everybody. Because I don't know. I think at the pro level it'd probably be a lot easier show to run. So that's where I give her props. All of us on the IFC.
Well, yeah, I mean,
props.
as for the structure of it, they, Dan and his wife Kyra remind me of Jeremy and his wife Jennifer out in Salt Lake City because I don't know, there's just a lot of similarities. They both promote, they both find the fighters, they both make sure all the needs are fit. And as for amateur fighters, do the prima donna thing, that's everywhere. That's everywhere. That's in Salt Lake City. That's Louisville. That's Southern Indiana. But yeah, Dan. No, I think they brought professionalism to the sport that Southern Indiana ain't seen yet.
It's definitely needed it too.
Yeah,
It's something that we
because out in Salt Lake City and it's some places like that, it's more established. And Dan introduced it and. In a professional way.
Let me just clarify something. Kyra she's the promotion. I'm a coach. I can't, as far as Indiana, I can't be a part of her show. I can help and I can help set the cage up. I can do things like that, but I cannot have any responsibility at all with the show. So my job at that point in time is if I'm not cornering my fighters, I'm what do you need? You need me to take the trash out? I'll go take the trash out. All the organization, everything falls on her. I mean, she works tirelessly. I mean I have a work ethic when it comes to mixed martial arts and to the preparation and the dieting, the physical training, everything that goes involved with that, mental and emotional training that goes along with the components of mixed martial arts. And she takes that same work ethic that I have and just goes into the business side of it just phenomenal. I mean, she goes above and beyond for a lot of these guys. To the point where she will drive to someplace, pick up a fighter because he lost his ride, and bring him down to compete, and then take him home. She will do that.
That's
She's
extraordinary.
done
That's what I mean. That's going above
She
and
has
beyond.
done that. So I mean, just that the entire organizational credit falls completely to her. I mean, she just works her tail off, and it's impressive to see. It's impressive to be a part of. And every time I'm like, well, what do you need? What do you need? You can't help me. That's right. Oh, okay.
Yeah, we've had people show up that we've had to corner from other schools or anything else. Hey, I really like to have somebody in my corner. We'll do it. Hey, it's not a big deal. That's the way it is. So they get in there and just like he was saying, well, this is what we think you need to do, and here's you some water, and go to it. It's like anybody else.
To get back to Kyra, she surrounds herself with the people to help make her successful, to help make the show successful. People like Chris Cruz, people that just bring an absolute the proper business mind and the proper mentality to the show. She puts that first and foremost. And there's I don't think anybody, even the shows that I've fought for, does that same type of professionalism combined with personal attention. I mean, if a fighter, like I said, if a fighter needs to be picked up, I need to go pick this fighter up. Oh, okay. I'm gonna go pick him up. Sure. You know, and where's he at? Oh, he's in Louisville. Okay. Thought he was down the road or something. No, you got to travel a couple hours to go get him. Okay. You know, I haven't experienced that even as a pro. You know, you're either at this point in time and you get in the van, or you're not at this point in time and you miss the van, and guess what? You're paying for your butt to get to where you need to be. So.
Great. Now we'll take the time to go around, and if you guys would like to shout any friends, family, fans that might watch the show, you can take the time and shout them out now. Anybody and everybody. We'll start with you.
No way.
No, you don't want to say hi to your grandma or mom?
What about what about your team?
Yeah, Team Warrior.
And what about MMA reality show? How about you, man?
I'd like to make a shout out to my mom and my dad, all my family, and definitely my sponsors and the rest of my team, Team Warrior, and the McBrayer Christian Church to give us a place to train and to get in there and work on everything. And
All right.
I'd like to give a shout out to Michael and Donnie, fighters that I've been working with. They've worked really hard. Garrett, Dan, you figure he's just going to be a big old monster type guy. He's just a big teddy bear, probably the nicest guy you met. Shout out to Body Shop Gym, our sponsor, and Whip Farms, and my mother. Hey.
Joe, what about you?
Shout out to MMA reality show for making it happen, you know. And we got Office Talk. We're getting around, man. I mean, we drove 5 hours just to get other people out and put their names out, just so everybody can know everybody. Because I mean, there's all these tight knit groups of MMA fighters, and they're just stuck in that one little area. And everybody knows them in that area, but don't nobody know anybody from Michigan. Don't nobody know anybody from Northern Indiana. Don't nobody know anybody from Southern Indiana, Salt Lake City. You know, and we're here to get everybody involved.
Right.
As for me, I already kind of gave a shout out to my coaches already. You know, as for MMA, you know, Dan Christensen, Jeremy Horn, and Nick Albin. You know, it's 3 different gyms. But as for people to thank, man, I don't know where to begin. You know, because if it wasn't for my parents, you know, and my family and shit like that, you know, I wouldn't be here.
Dial it down. Dial it down, man.
Hey, man. Well, I'm just saying, you know, if I had to give shout outs to everybody, I'd give a shout out to everybody. You know, my whole family. You know, they've been there with me, and all my teammates. You know, in the past is just, you know, it's been great. One of my old football players over there, he's an MMA fighter now.
Yeah. Same way with me. Like I said, Sandbox definitely, Kyra, Dan especially. You know, it goes beyond just the training. You know, we're all friends afterward. Like you said, the family atmosphere. You know, there's some days we don't want to be around each other, but we do it anyway, and there are other times we are. You know, that's what I like about it, because I never intended on fighting when I came into it. It was just to learn and get in shape. You know, and it just kind of progressed. And, you know, after 2 weeks or 3 weeks being gone, start jonesing for it. You know, I have a good time, you know. Like you said, we're brothers in this, so.
Well, I want to thank everybody like on the Sandbox team for making me a lot better than I was before, and I want to thank my family, my wrestling team too, especially because they want to get me started and everything. So, that's what I did.
What about you, Dan?
I don't even know if I have any fans.
I don't have
But to those few people that are hanging in there, hey guys.
We're your fans.
I want to
I'm your fan.
give a a shout out to all the guys. I mean, guys that come and train with us, guys that can't be here, guys that we've lost along the way from moving or whatnot. Our brothers in arms, I guess. And just the bottom line, I really want to give a shout out to the guys that are fighting. The bottom line is you can talk the talk, but when that cage door closes, you better be able to know. You better know your business. And those that train, those that push themselves, those that try. It's not even even if you shoot for the stars and you miss, you're still higher and farther than where you first started. And that, by far, that means more than you will ever know. It's not to me, not to anyone else, but to yourself. They say those things that those opportunities in life when you get older, those opportunities in life that you had when you were young, it's not the ones that you took that you miss. It's the ones that you didn't take but had the opportunity to, that stick with you, that haunt you. And you guys that are doing it, I just want to make sure that you guys understand you get much respect.
Great. How about you, Garrett?
All right, first I'd like to give a shout out to my team. I got two here tonight, and my partners in crime. Nathan here, thank you for being here with us and help me out with the times I can't be there. I'd like to thank Dan for inviting us down here and working with him, and it's definitely an honor to have that opportunity. I'd like to give a shout out to my wife, Shelby. She's I couldn't be running my end of things without her. I'd like to give a shout out to Seabot Chris Cruz and Patty Cruz in Montana, along with Doug Budney. And thank you guys for assisting me and helping me and giving me the opportunity to become what I've become today. And that's all I got.
I would like to thank Sandbox MMA, all of you guys today. Dan Christensen for having us out, putting on the seminar, making us feel welcome. I mean, come here for the first time, and all you guys are really nice people, and I really felt at home. I mean, you let us on your mat, and we trained, and you brought in food for us. Couldn't ask for any more. We're almost 6 hours away from home, so I appreciate that. And thanks Kyra too for making the food. She probably made the food.
She made the food, guys. It's one of the things I missed.
It was delicious.
That's one of the things I missed. I'm sorry. I want to give a shout out to my wife. She will kill me if I don't say that. So, honey, I love you. Thank you. You've done a phenomenal job. Please don't kill me.
You know what it is.
MMA Reality Show!
Hi there. I have Kyra Christensen with Indiana Fighting Championship with me tonight. Kyra, can you tell me a little bit about your promotion?
Just a little bit? We are a small organization here in southern Indiana. We hit about 4 counties, Perry, Spencer, DuBois, and Martin counties here in Indiana. What else do you want to know?
Do you have a set group of fighters that you always turn to make your cards up, or do you pull fighters from anywhere and everywhere that you
Anywhere
can?
and everywhere. If you watched our fight cards, we don't. Maybe you would see some repetition, but for the most part, no.
So you have some loyal fighters that always come back, but you're always adding new faces. Do you have champions?
We do. We just actually recently started with the champion belts because since we were new, we turned 2 years old in July. my thought was until someone wins 3 fights, would we start the belts then? So that started happening this year. We started with I can't remember if we started 25 or 35, and then we just had and then we started 50. We did a 55. We just had the 70, and then the 35, and then a 25 interim belt. And so in this next fight, we're going to have actually a heavyweight belt, and then the guys are going to start. The guys that won their belts will then this fall and early spring start defending them.
Okay. And from the way it sounds, they have to actually earn these belts.
Yes.
I mean, they have to win at least 3 times to even be considered for one.
Well, what it is, not both guys fighting. When I say that, I guess it doesn't make any sense, but say you fight for me, and you fought 3 times, and so you're in belt contention. And a lot of the 3 fights had to do with because a lot of the guys were novice still. Mm-hmm. So I kind of feel that the guys at least need to be in the advanced level to win a belt.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, but say you fight for me 3 times, and you're then up for the title, and I've never had the, what do you fight at?
70.
Okay, so you're fighting at 85.
Okay.
Say I've never given out the 85 title. So I come to you and I say, okay, we don't have anybody else in contention at 85. Here are 5 guys that are qualified, and I want you to pick the toughest one. Basically, that's what I say. I say, and all of our guys have always wanted to fight tough competition. Mm-hmm. So it's never been an issue where I kind of want to fight this guy because I had a rough fight last time. But it's never been like that. So I mean, we kind of pick, as a whole, we know kind of who we want this person to fight, but I would never force somebody to fight anybody they we're uncomfortable with or anything like that. But you are a title holder, so you kind of have to fight someone that's as good or better, I think. Yeah. And so that's kind of how we go about it.
That makes sense.
Because to me, that sounds like crazy, but everybody that works for me and works with me works really, really, really hard. So if you have my belt, you are a representation of my hard work and my dedication and my crew's hard work and their dedication. So I want you to be as hard of a worker as we all are.
Now you said crew. Mm-hmm. Is there multiple people that make up Indiana Fighting Championship?
Yes.
How many people are part of your organization or your crew?
I don't. If I start naming names, I might forget somebody.
Well, you don't have to name everybody.
We have Sarah, my best friend. She handles usually the door and tickets and things like that. Anything I need, she's there. She saves my life. And then Joanne, who you've met, who was in here earlier, she handles like the t-shirts and also anything I might be frantic about or need or anything. And then we have Chris Cruz. I don't know if you've ever seen me post anything on Facebook. I will not have a fight if Chris Cruz cannot be there. He's a fight handler. I would never have to walk in the back. I never have to walk in the back. He takes the guys. He has one guy in a cage, one guy, he's just basically on deck. And then that third fight is ready to go on deck. Constant. It's constant motion, constant movement. We never wait for a fight unless we purposely wait for a fight. Mm-hmm. It's never anything like that. Never have to question, never anything. He just handles it all.
Okay, I can kind of relate as a fighter to the analogy you just give, and that sounds very organized. Would you say your promotion is very organized?
We have hiccups. Every fight has been different, and every fight has been a learning experience. I mean, completely different. I was very proud of the fact that our very first fight that we ever did, MMAC is our sanctioning body, and they came down, and Dave Stone was the ref, and they told us at that time, we were the most organized fight organization any of them had ever worked, and it was our very first fight. And to me, that was one of the proudest. I will remember that in 30 years, And we actually were going to start on time, and they wouldn't let us. Because that was my goal, was to start on time. Because I didn't realize, you might want to wait a little bit. People are still at the door kind of thing, That was my goal, was to start on time. And I wanted to do, and so they made just a little 10 minutes or something. So.
Would you put your promotion ahead of all these other promotions around the area? Would you say your promotion is better or as good as all these other promotions?
I don't think better. I think we're all different. We all have strengths and weaknesses. Everybody's completely different. We all run it differently. Do I think we're as good? Yeah, of course I do. I'm very proud of what we've done and what we've accomplished. And, because the people that work with me are not MMA people at all. Chris, of course, is. But, John, he has a full-time job and he loves the sport. Joanne just happened to be a fan of the sport, but they're not people that, they've, worked at fight organizations. It's nobody I brought in from, oh, I really like this guy in Ohio. It's not like that. These are people that just support us and support the IFC and love the sport. And so it's just different, I don't know. It's very family oriented, which is very weird. People, I say that was a big thing for me to have that family feel. And I think we do. You guys, I'm sure you felt it today.
Yeah. Well, I know Dan Christensen, your husband, has nothing to do with Indiana Fighting Championship.
He does put up the cage.
I know that's all your deal, but I can tell you what I felt today training on his mat and with his team. I felt the family atmosphere, and what you talk about, a family feeling, a family atmosphere. I believe that, and it probably comes from a good family that you guys have at home.
Yeah, I just think martial arts. I think MMA gets a bad rap. Fighters, thugs, and things like that. And what I want our fans to feel and see, and what the people that come and fight for us, I want it to be a reflection of what amazing life we've had in MMA. It has been. The people we've met, the things, we've gotten to do. See, I get weepy. I want to bring all that into us and share that with everybody. That was the big thing of keeping the fight organization here at home, was sharing all that we have learned and gotten to be a part of with all the great people here at home.
You're in the Indiana MMA group. I'm in there too.
Real Indiana MMA.
Real Indiana
Yes.
MMA, okay. There was some talk, this was about a month ago, some talk about champions from one promotion fighting the champions from other promotions. Do you remember that talk?
Mm-hmm. I do.
What do you think about this scenario?
Well, I think, I guess from a marketing aspect as a promoter, if it was going to be on my card, maybe it would sell tickets or maybe if there was a big hoopla kind of thing about it. But I think there's, a lot of the guys fight in the same organizations. And so, I don't know. I think I don't care to be a part of it, but, they were saying, well, would you put your champions against my champions and things like that. And I have a private group that's an IFC group. It's not that I wouldn't do it, but I don't feel any reason to do it. I'm very proud of the guys that wear our belts. They're our champs for a reason, because they've worked hard and they've earned it. Be it they fought for it, or we have some guys that earned it because they trained, they were into title contention, they were going to fight for the title, and their opponent didn't show. So they earned the belt that way. Now people think that's weird, but I brought this fighter in to fight for the title, so he was just as deserving as the guy that was up for the title. This guy chose not to show, so this guy automatically to me gets it, because, well, if he would beat that guy, he would have got it anyway. But there's no anything for this guy that didn't show. So this guy, to me, held up his end of the bargain, so he should get it.
Yeah.
So.
And because of your passion and your pride that I'm feeling right now, I can just assume that you respect all the training and hard work that these fighters put in.
Definitely.
And also because you probably know, with your husband being on the Ultimate Fighter and fighting for the UFC and running his own gym, you probably know the hard work that goes into training for these fights, especially a belt fight. And so yeah, I can kind of see where you're coming from there as far as them being deserving. I mean, because it's kind of hard to put another fighter in there to take the spot of someone that was supposed to fight for a belt.
Yeah.
So I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Some people might, but
it's my organization.
It's your organization. It's your
There's
promotion.
very few times that I say it's mine. And that would be one time when I would say it's mine. And that is my decision. I brought this person from, a 6-hour drive, or I brought this person from a 2-hour drive, or whatever, but for however many weeks he trained to fight this guy in my cage for my organization. And very rarely do you hear me say mine. And he deserves my belt because he sacrificed and he has nothing to show for it. And so he gets the belt.
As a fighter and someone who understands, I would have to commend you on that.
Thank you.
What do you feel about bringing fighters in from other states and stuff? Do you do that?
Mm-hmm. We don't have there's dance school here, there's Evansville, and there's Owensboro, but that's it. I mean, that's as close as you're going to get, to us. Vincent's and a few other places. So we do. So we don't have that, same group of guys constantly or whatever. But when I started this, that was part of the thing. I wanted to do that because it brings in a completely different field of fight, completely different competition. It's not the same guys constantly fighting each other all the time. Mm-hmm. I think as an amateur, sure, if you have that, as a promoter, I should say, you fought this guy, and the win was questionable, the fans were wild, and so if you put that on number 2, then, those fans that, okay, that's how a promoter should do it, should sell it. But if he won the fight the first time, even if you win the second fight, it doesn't change what happened the first time anyway. He was a better fighter that night. You're a better fighter tonight. It doesn't change anything. Yeah. So that's why I like to bring in the different people. And with our matchmaker, Mike Camp, who has worked in all these other states, we will be able to do that.
Great. Do you cover gas and hotel and stuff?
Of course, I don't want to stay in my house. Yeah. They're not always the best hotels, but they're...
Well, but you do that for the fighters.
Well, sure. I lived see, that's just it. I lived that other life. I lived as a fighter's wife. I was the one sleeping in the hotels and getting to the fights and providing the transportation and driving. So I know that other end of it as well as, this end of it. Actually, I probably know that other end of it better than I know this end of it. So I do understand, that makes a difference.
Yeah, so your passion and stuff for your organization and for the fighters stems from the relationship and your history with seeing your husband as a fighter go through what he went through.
Yeah. And the other people too. We worked for years for the Kentucky Athletic Commission. Dan and I both did. He would ref and I would judge, or he would judge and I would spectate, and we were friends with Hard Rock, who has a promotion in Kentucky, probably one of the biggest and puts on fights all the time, and what I feel that we do and what it's important to me is all the people that have invested in us all these years. I try to do a really good job because I want them to be proud of the advice they gave me or the time that they spent talking to me about something or does that make any sense on it, saying, so.
Do you get personal with the fighters?
Oh, I'm like a mom. It's horrible. Yes. And I probably shouldn't. This has been the hardest card. And I feel somewhat detached because Mike has stepped up and is our full-time matchmaker now. So there are guys on the card that I've never talked to, I don't know, I've never seen. And that's weird for me because I'm used to, the constant interaction, knowing their kids, their wives, their girlfriends, their mothers, their coaches, and things like that at this time. And it's been a learning experience. He calls it my weaning experience. And that will happen more and more, there'll be even less. Because like this time I still have a lot of contact and stuff because we're just transitioning. Mm-hmm. And so that will be it'll be good because it'll take a lot of the stress of the fight card and that kind of stuff off me, and I can concentrate on what I need to be concentrating on. But it'll be hard for me because I'll miss that connection, I'll worry that maybe they didn't get that feel of what we're about.
Is there something about your promotion that would make a fighter want to come and fight for you?
Versus other people, or just fight for us?
Yeah, why would somebody want to come fight for you?
I think that is it, the family feel. The fact that we work so hard to try to take care of them, to help them out, and that kind of stuff. I mean, I look at this and I look at other promotions and I think, oh, we do this differently or we do that differently. And I think once you've fought for us and experienced that, for the most part, I don't know, there may be out there, I don't know anybody that's fought for us that never said they wouldn't come back. Some happened. So maybe they thought it and they just wouldn't say it. But I've never really had any complaints. I've never had anybody blast me on Facebook or it's going to happen, I'm sure, but I've never had that. So, because we are all very personal with the people that fight for us. We become kind of, for that one night, a big old family.
Great.
Yeah.
Your next card is called Rectified. Mm-hmm. And it's October 31st?
No, August 31st.
August 31st, okay. Is there any fights that stand out to you that you would want to tell the audience they wouldn't want to miss?
Chris Wonky is defending his title for the first time. He is one of them that came to Jasper. I had one of the biggest fights in Indiana set up, and the opponent didn't show. Didn't make weight, then didn't show. And so Chris then was awarded the belt. So this would be his actual first fight for us, technically, because the other guy was the one that had actually earned the title contention.
Okay.
And Chris was the opponent chosen. And so this will actually be his first fight for us, and then his defense of his title as well. And so a gentleman from Tennessee is going to come up and fight for that. And so it'll be a really good fight, I think. I think that's going to be one. But I don't watch our fights.
Oh, you don't?
No. I don't.
So, the reason why that one stands out to you, would it be... Now, I know you said he deserves it. Mm-hmm. He deserves that title even though he didn't fight for it. Is that the one that stands out because you want him to have to fight for it this time?
No, I don't think so. I think...
Do you want it? Do you want to know how the outcome turns out because of him fighting for the first time?
No. I think it's because I saw what he went through when he didn't get to fight last time. And his opponent this time has signed the contract, will be here. And so we, not I, are able to give him the fight that we couldn't last time. And to me, that's why that fight's so important.
Contract. Do you have the fighters sign contracts?
In the beginning, they all signed contracts. They didn't fight if they didn't sign a contract. Then I felt like we were at a place, we were comfortable enough with the quality of the people that were fighting for us that they didn't have to sign the contracts anymore. We'd have a no-show here and there. Not really that big of an issue. Rarely did we have that issue. We had one in March that was for a title belt. Fortunately, it wasn't his fault. He could not make it. Won't even go into details on that one. And so that kind of hurt. But this last show was a huge lesson for me. The trust was there. I trusted them to do, and they didn't. And it was a lesson that, regardless of the personal relationship, sometimes this is still a business. And, you know, I lost ticket sales. I paid hotels and gas on a fight that didn't happen. You know, and so then I had to buck up and say, everybody that steps in our cage signs a contract or they don't fight. But on the other end of it, I made it really easy too. They just fill in the blanks. They go to our website. There's a contract. I talked to the lawyer. Electronic signature is just as good, and it actually says this is a legal digital signature.
Really?
Yes, and they fill in their weight, their opponent, their address, their full name, and then they sign it electronically. It shoots off to me. It comes as a contract, and I email it back to them. And that's it.
So this is a very easy process.
It's a very easy process. No one, they can do it on their phone. They can do it on any computer. And if they don't have internet, everybody has a library. So
any fighter that's out there watching this and you would like to fight for Indiana Fighting
you will sign a contract.
or Kyra, there you have it. Easy contract. It's an easy process. And look at this girl. I mean, she's passionate.
Yeah.
Is there any fighter out there that doesn't fight for you that you would like to fight for you that catches your eye?
What do you mean?
Maybe he's got the wow factor. He's got the name, or I don't know. Maybe you got somebody that you'd like him to fight.
That's a tough question. I don't. You know, I contemplated this today because a fighter came to us that's fought for us before, and he said, "Well, you didn't ask me to fight on this card." And I said, "Well, I don't think about that. I just assume if you want to come back, you'll come back, and you'll say, 'Hey, I see you have a fight card,' and you'll come back." So. I don't know. That's a tough one. I really don't. I don't know. I don't think there is. I say that, and not everybody that is on there that is probably getting so good on real Indian MMA. She doesn't want anybody but the people that ever fight for her. No, I don't think one person actually stands out. No.
Okay. Last but not least, I heard about this crying that you do.
So you'll probably make me cry.
Yeah, I heard about this crying that you do in the fighter meetings.
Every time.
Do you do the fighter meeting?
We talk. See, I get all. You know, they do the rules. Chris Cruz talks about his process. David Maldonado talks about his role in his process, and you know, the refs do, and then the promoter has to say thank you and stuff like that. And it is from. See, I think because it is so personal, you know, and these guys have given up weeks of their life to come and do this for us and for our crowd. And see, I get off, and I'm so grateful for that. That there's no way to express, you know, gas money in a hotel room. There's just no way to express that, and it just all boils up, and I'm overwhelmed. It just absolutely overwhelmed with gratitude.
Is there anybody out there that you'd like to thank?
See, now I'll cry. Just everybody that's had ever, you know, invested anything into us. Especially my crew is over the top amazing. They're just amazing people that give their time for little or no money at all. You know, I could not do this without every single one of them, and that is very true. You know, I'm very lucky, and especially the fighters. And my husband that puts up with me to let me do this. You know, we had a discussion today, and he said something about the competition and loving the competition and all this other stuff, but he doesn't like the fights. That's my thing, you know. And my fight week now is my payback for all his fight weeks before, because I am not a nice person. I'm busy, I'm stressed, he has to pick up the slack kind of thing. So definitely I'm grateful to him. And to you guys, thank you guys for coming down and doing this today. I hope you had a good time.
Kyra, I really want to thank you for expressing all of your passion. in this interview and just all day long. And now when I see you on Facebook,
you'll think of me crying.
Well, when you're talking and you're expressing yourself like we all do, I'll have a better feeling for it. And I really do appreciate you having us down. And the food was great, and it really did feel like a family atmosphere.
I'm glad.
Thanks a lot, and I hope you have true success in your future.
Yeah, and that's where I think people get confused about success. I did not start this to make tons of money. I started this to grow the sport in our area and give the guys that do want to fight in our area a platform to fight in. You know, we see the fights on Real Indiana MMA about the making money and who makes the most money and stuff like that. I would like it to break even. I would like to be able to invest in. But I think at the end of the night, when you see the crowd and you see the people that work for you, they're happy. The fighters are happy. You know, everybody's had a good time. That's success to me.
Great. Well, thanks a lot for coming on Office Talk. And you know where it's at. MMA reality show.
My life be like, ooh, yeah, ooh. My life be like, ooh, yeah, ooh. Yeah, ooh. My life be like, yeah, ooh. My life be like times like these that make me say, yeah, Lord, if you see me, please come my way. Like leaving breadcrumbs rolling out straight. Yeah, long sacrifice in the price you pay. Like living like a figure tale. Sometimes I fall, I slip. Yeah, more feelings I be more like you. Yeah, not to put your fire with the things I do.
I'm on an island by my lonesome stranded. Low key and staying candid. Reflect on all the things I try my hand at. Search for the equation to persuasions I'm used to. Finding comfort in the zones of closet bones I get loose to. A mountain is Fontaine. Spinning in monsoon and grinning is high octane. Explosive how I came. Rolling down the hills cause life's a hassle. Encircled by my folly like a moat around the castle. Stay afloat. Catch a second wind. Thin is the air I breathe. Teary-eyed nose running. Wipe the snot on my sleeve. I'm calling on the Savior to be all that I need. Please forgive me, my behavior had me lost at light speed.